Few animals gain widespread cultural significance in the human world. But a creature known for stubbornness, hardiness, and humility also once shared its manger on a very important birthday. Today, its name is proclaimed with the word, "See, your king comes to you, righteous and victorious, lowly and riding on a donkey, a colt, the foal of a donkey." But humility often hides a hidden value in life, death, and taxonomy. Welcome back to Life, Death, and Taxonomy, your 30 minutes of interesting animal information. I'm Joe.
And I'm in the Christmas spirit. Also Carlos.
Thank you to Cassie for the creation of our theme song. To hear more of Cassie's music, please search Cassie Michelle on YouTube or Spotify.
And thank you to Johanna for the creation of this week's artwork. To check that out, you can visit us at our home on the web at ldtaxonomy.com. And a very special thank you to our patrons. Thank you so much for your support. It's greatly appreciated. Thanks for helping us keep the lights on. If you would like to donate, just visit patreon.com/ldtaxonomy or click on donate on our website.
And today we're talking about a humble steed that once had a grand rider. But more on that later.
She called me a humble steed. Noble steed.
I wasn't even referencing that. That's another reference for this animal.
Oh, but I have it's one of the nicknames. But we're getting into the season of us watching that because my wife and I's tradition on New Year's Eve is to watch the first Shrek movie.
Oh.
So let fart jokes abound. Bathroom humor, love it. Yes, we're talking about the African wild donkey. The irritating beast of burden that he is. It's also known as the wild donkey, the Somali wild donkey, the Nubian wild donkey. All of these come with the caveat that there is another term for donkey that I will not be saying
biblical term
on this show. Because
biblical.
We don't want a little explicit sign to show up, and we're just going to keep it donkey this whole time. That was the word that got me into serious trouble when I was probably 7, and I knew all the curse words, but then I found out that this one was okay to say sometimes. They said it
is okay to say.
They said it in
sometimes.
Pinocchio. They say it in What Child Is This? I could say it, and so I called somebody that in kids' church, and that they didn't go over so well. But
you can say it on TV. Did you know that? Like on regular network TV, but you just can't call someone that.
Interesting.
Like if you're saying it in conversation, you can say it. But if you call someone, name calling is a whole different set of rules. I found out.
That's true. Goes to the B word as well. But yeah, I'm just to keep this episode squeaky clean. Given, I mean, that sounds weird considering the last episode was about nuptial gifts. And
well, it's funny because this word that we're dancing around is sung in a Christmas hymn.
I sung this word in that Christmas hymn on Sunday. I was the worship lead, and and as I was practicing for it, I was like, why haven't we changed it yet?
It's one syllable. The other version, donkey's 2 syllables.
There are other animals that are 1 syllable that were probably there. Like a cow.
We can't leave him out just because he has an embarrassing name. That's rude.
Or a mule.
But it's not a mule.
How do you know?
The Bible says. I actually don't know.
Does the Bible make the distinction between a mule and a donkey?
Well, there is a real one.
Where ox and mule are feeding. Why not? Let's do it. but petition to change
Did they
it.
have mules then in that place?
I'm sure they did. They'd been domesticated. We're about to talk about how long the donkey's been domesticated.
Okay.
So I'm sure that was they had already decided, hey, donkeys are cool, but what if we made it into a horse? And that's where that came from. Anyway, we're gonna call my nicknames are the Colt Candlewick. That's a Pinocchio reference. The Braying Blitz and Donkey on the Edge.
Oh, no.
I cannot do a good
Thank goodness.
Eddie Murphy impression. Yeah. So let's taxonomize this. It's in a kingdom you know, love, and are in. That kingdom is Animalia. The phylum is Chordata. The class Mammalia. It's a mammal. The order is Perissodactyla. The family is Equidae. It's equine. Genus is Equus. Equus. There's 2 U's there. And the species is Africanus. So this is donkeys, actually.
Mm-hmm.
The domestic donkey is a subspecies, along with the Nubian wild donkey, the Somali wild donkey, and the Atlas wild donkey. But the donkey that we know and love today is a subspecies of the Equus africanus. And since we're in the business of naming things, it's time for my favorite part of the show, critter groups. It's been a while. We haven't done critter groups in a while, but there is a special term for donkeys. So this is a part of the show where I ask you, Joe, a question. That question is the same every time. What is the name of a group of this animal? What is the term of venery, or what is the collective noun? If you saw a group of donkeys, what would you call it? Would you call it A, an allion of donkeys, B, a bonnet of donkeys, C, a coffle of donkeys, or D, a dredge of donkeys? The A, B, C, D. Allion, Bonnie, Coffle, Dredge.
And I don't know, dredge. I don't know what any of those words. Dredge is the only word I know what that is. So,
Going
that
with
one. Yeah.
That is incorrect. The answer is coffle. A coffle of donkeys.
Great. What's that
When I
word
found out
mean?
it was coffle, I had to make up some words. I actually wrote Bonnie here, but I changed it to bonnet at the last second because I thought that maybe that would be a little bit.
I heard you say. I thought you said Bonnie.
I said bonnet the first time, and then I wrote Bonnie. So when I read it the second time, I said Bonnie. But a bonnet sounds more like a term of venery to me now that I'm thinking about it. So, but no, it's a coffle of donkeys. There are other terms of venery, and in case something happens to this recording, I'm gonna keep them in my back pocket. Plus, Africanus as a species, like, I don't think you were gonna be stretched that hard to figure out what that means. Equus africanus. I wonder what that means.
African horse.
So let's talk about what this looks like. It is a donkey, but there's a twist. So it has a slender, light gray to white body, but it has these black stripes on its back legs. So it's got a little bit of an Okapi vibe going on.
Yeah.
Which it's funny because
which just goes to show you that in Africa, it's good to have stripes for some reason.
Black and white stripes. Even though the donkey is nowhere near related to the zebra, and the Okapi is even less related to the zebra. But just getting those black and white stripes, it looked just like zebra stripes. It works. So it has the thin, short, coarse donkey fur, has long donkey ears, and which are good for hearing long distances and dissipating heat in the hot sun. It has a donkey mane that is dark. It runs along its neck, and it has powerful hooves that are good for navigating and taking impact from the rugged, rocky terrain that it lives in.
Yeah, you're saying all the things that I have for my major fact.
Okay. Never mind. Should I restart?
No. I'll tie it all together.
So let's talk about how big this guy is. which I guess we have to. You're the one who's going to tell us that. How big is he?
Okay. Welcome to the Love Measure Up segment, the official listeners part of the show. The part of the show when we present the animal's size and dimensions in relatable terms. It's also part of the show that's introduced by you when you send in audio results saying, singing, or chittering the words measure up into ldtaxonomy@gmail.com. We don't have a new measure up intro this week, but that means we get to hear from an animal. Carlos has to guess what it is.
I wonder who's going to be.
It's not going to be donkey from.
Since you already mentioned that you hadn't thought of it. I can't believe you hadn't thought of it.
I forgot about him.
you
I was thinking Christmas the whole time.
Christmas.
I was thinking like
there's a Shrek Christmas special that I haven't seen.
The Manger. I was thinking a lot of the Christmas episode.
Okay.
Without further ado, the listener's favorite part of the show.
Santa doesn't have to worry. I'll watch over his stable till he gets back, like I do every year. Christmas Eve. Quietest night of the year up here at Santa's castle.
Do you know who that is?
So I have not seen this movie.
Neither have I.
Assuming it's the one that I'm thinking of. But just the vibe, the audio quality, the narration. I have to assume it's the Little Drummer Boy. And there's a donkey that narrates it. No.
I've seen the Little Drummer Boy. The animals don't talk in that.
Do they not? Yeah.
No.
Again, I have not seen that movie, and well, come on, can you blame me? The animals talk in all the other movies.
I'm gaslighting myself. Maybe they do, but I'm pretty sure it's just like narration, and the Little Drummer Boy talks.
Okay. I mean, it's Rankin Bass claymation.
It is Rankin. I think Rankin Bass.
How could I not assume that the animals talk? And he drums for Jesus, so he must go to the stable. So you see how this is all piecing together. What is the answer?
The answer is Nestor, the long-eared Christmas donkey.
That is ringing just the faintest jingle bells in the back of my psyche. I that sounds kind of familiar, but not bringing any strong memories to the forefront.
It's the Rankin Bass stop motion. It's crazy. I've heard this name maybe one time before.
Oh, this is Rankin Bass 2?
Yeah.
Along with the Little Drummer Boy?
Yes. Well, it's either Rankin Bass or a competitor, but I think Rankin Bass. Yes.
Huh. I thought you were going to go. So there's that animated star-studded movie called, I think it's just called Star, that came out like 3 or 4 years ago, where they got like a bunch of like hip hop singers and stuff to play like the nativity animals, and one character is a donkey. So I thought that maybe you were gonna pick that one. If it sounded like Chris Brown or something was the donkey, I was gonna say that.
The movie is Nestor the long-eared donkey or whatever. That character is Spieltoe. Different, not Nestor. The narrator character.
Silly me.
And does he sound familiar to you? Because he
sounds like
something else.
Sounds like Alan Adale. I'll give.
He is Alan Adale. He is Roger Miller.
I'm Alan Adale. Yeah.
I want to watch that now. Just to hear the dulcet tones of Roger Miller singing Christmas songs.
His velvety baritone.
Mm-hmm. Let's talk about their height. 1.2 meters or 4 feet. That means that is the same as a 96 Holly Berries, not Halle Berry,
or the other Halle Berry that played the Little Mermaid.
Haley Berry.
Haley Berry, yes.
The berries on a holly plant are called drupes. Drupes. Or B, 78.6 mistletoe leaves. Leaves of the mistletoe on average.
Okay.
Or C, 5.4 donkeys go into the largest Christmas wreath ever made.
That one. Final answer. Christmas wreath.
The correct answer is the Christmas wreath.
Yes.
Yeah. The wreath was made in Goto, Nagasaki, Japan. And it was 21 feet and 4 inches in diameter, or 6.5 meters.
That is not the country I was going to assume made the biggest
No,
Christmas
but we
wreath.
were just talking about how
The Japanese do
Japan
everything well.
do everything well.
But we were also talking about how the Germans do everything
do it
well.
well.
And if there was one of those two countries that was going to make a Christmas wreath the size of a...
That's true.
Of that, it was going to be Germany.
Let's talk weight. 250 kilograms, or 600 pounds. That is the same as A, 12 6-foot Douglas firs. B, 5 ladies dancing. C, 25
that's a real thing.
Barbie Dreamhouse playsets.
25 Barbie Dreamhouse playsets weigh 600 pounds.
Yeah. Do you know what the...
I don't know what that
they're
is.
like this big. Yeah, it's like a big thing. It's plastic. You could pick it up easy, but like, yeah. It's not like a little... It's like a big...
Huh. What is the ladies dancing? Is this like the average weight of a woman in the world?
Yeah. I tried to get fancy with it and be like, what is the average weight of a royal like a noble class English woman in the Victorian or the Elizabethan era? But of course they don't have that information.
Or a ballerina. Like what maybe you could find all the like ballerina weights. There's probably like a pretty limited like physiology that you can have to be like an accomplished ballerina.
An effective ballerina. I think they are famously unkindly kept at a certain dimensions. Yeah.
Unkindly kept. The Judy Garland way. All right. I don't even remember what the
12 6-foot Christmas trees.
Barbie house
dancing.
End of
final
yes.
answer. The correct answer is 12 6-foot Douglas firs.
A 24-pound
It depends.
Barbie house. That seemed like decent. So,
the Barbie Dream House was among the best-selling toys of Christmas in 2023. But
that's because Barbie came out in 2023.
That's true. I forgot about that. Douglas firs can be up to 50 pounds at 6 feet, depending on their moisture level.
I don't understand why anyone would get a living Christmas tree anymore. My aunt and uncle, they still go out and buy a tree for more than you would pay for a fake tree. And
a pre-lit fake tree.
And what we do is we take these little sticks that are scented like a pine tree, and we hang them on there so it smells like a pine tree, and it's a million times easier. We do have to store it though, so if you don't have a place to store a tree, then I guess I can understand that.
Do you have any fast facts before we get into the major facts?
I do. So as the name implies, from the African wild donkey, it is native to the arid regions of northeastern Africa, including Eritrea, Ethiopia, and Somalia. That's actually a pretty limited range. You think the African wild donkey, it's like, oh, it's everywhere, like the African wild dog. But there actually aren't that many in the wild. It's critically endangered. There are only 570 members of the species left in the wild. But similar to the camel, it has been domesticated for a gajillion years. And so there's plenty of them. We're not running out of donkeys. But they're just not in the wild anymore.
They just straight up decided to like have comfort and shelter and decided like we don't want to be wild in the desert anymore.
Yeah, it's like we could be torn apart by dogs or starve or die of thirst. Or we could just pull this plow. That sounds pretty good.
Yeah. And get food every day.
They made that decision in 3000 BC, and they've been resting on those laurels ever since. And then there was that one time where one spoke to a false prophet, and then boom, like they were cemented.
Donkey, there are probably more like there are more famous donkeys in the Bible than there are any other animal, I think.
Of a specific animal?
What do you
like?
Yeah.
Like they talk about lions and sheep a lot.
Oh no, I mean like an individual animal.
Like this is the donkey that Mary and Joseph
Jesus rode
came
on.
This is the triumphal entry into Jerusalem. This is the one that told Balaam what's what.
Yeah. And then a king became something like a donkey.
Or like a beast of the field.
Yeah, a beast of the field.
So for the last 5,000 years, donkeys have been pulling carts and tilling fields for humans, and they are in the wild. They're hunted. They are predated upon. So there aren't very many left in the wild, but that's still better than the camel, the dromedary camel, because there are none left in the wild of those. They are all domesticated. So they like the African wild donkey likes deserts, semi-deserts. They are herbivores. They eat dry, scrubby vegetation. They are territorial, and they have territories of around 15 square miles, which there are 570 of them living in just 3 relatively small countries on the northeastern section of the Horn of Africa. So they tend to overlap. And because their territories overlap, they do not fight or oust other males. There's a dominant male in a territory, and if there are other males in that territory, they become subordinate, and they are given a restraining order from the females. They cannot come close to the females, but they can be in the territory. You don't have to go home, but you can stay here. Most hoofed animals tend to run away when danger comes a knocking, but the donkey likes to investigate and then kick the thing to death. So they are not skittish, as skittish as antelope, deer, horses, that kind of thing. This was something that I found very interesting. They can run 43 miles an hour. How fast do you think the fastest horse was recorded at running?
Less? Well, what? Okay, the fastest horse. Like maybe 50.
44. One mile an hour slower than the fastest horse ever. I couldn't believe that, but I couldn't find anything that didn't corroborate that. This kind of seemed like an echo chamber situation where there was like one. It was posted in one place. Wikipedia picked it up, and then every other article that copies Wikipedia just did the same thing. So it just seems like a donkey that's only 4 feet tall at the withers couldn't possibly run faster than a horse. But, cheetahs are small. They run really fast. So
it's all about efficiency of muscles and like.
But
There could be many variables.
Cats and dogs don't have fixed spines, so they're able to like contort their bodies in ways that give them much more a bigger stride than they otherwise should. Where like animals with fixed spines, like equine animals, they can't get their feet as far out in front of them as a cheetah can. So there is a limit, but for now we will go with they are almost as fast as the fastest horses. So they are speedy, and I think there's a new Sonic movie coming out. So this is topical. They, as you probably know, donkeys make a loud braying call that kind of sounds like a rusty hinge in a cathedral. Just being opened and and shut constantly. They lived for about 25 years in the wild, which is impressive given where they live. And they need to keep an eye out for lions, hyenas, and humans that like to eat donkeys, which is not as uncommon as you might think. In fact, I'm pretty sure I ate donkey in China. We're sitting at a restaurant. I ordered chicken. I think it was chicken. I don't know. I ordered like there's beef meat, the word, and like bird meat, the word. So I got one of those, and then one of the people in our
beef meat.
We were all, it must have been beef meat, but we were all a bunch of American looking people, but one of us could speak Chinese fluently, and said that the people, the cooks were like sniggering to themselves that they had fed us donkey meat. And this person told us after the fact. But this person also liked to talk, so who knows? I think that's all the personal donkey stories that I have. Donkey related anecdotes. So tell us about the major fact.
Well, before getting into the major fact, did you know that donkeys, like you mentioned, that they, like give up, let's get away from the wolves and the African wild dogs and stuff. They have a primordial hatred of canines. So they're effective, like guardian animals. Like if you have a small flock of goats or sheep on a farm, they're effective at guarding against like coyotes and stuff because they loathe canines. And if your dog gets too close, they'll stomp it. So don't let your dog too close.
It's a Montague and Capulet sort of situation. It's just I saw a video of like a donkey, like a coyote near a donkey, and the donkey bites it at the back of the neck and just like swings it around and twirls it away, like tosses it away. Sheesh. It does sound primordial, like Apple versus PC, just a tale as old as of war as old as time.
Mm-hmm.
Dr. Pepper and Mountain Dew, chocolate and vanilla.
I'm calling this major fact Desert Power. Do you know what that is a reference to? Something we reference on
that
too much on this?
Is that a Dune reference?
This Dune, yeah. So the African wild donkey is remarkably adapted to thrive in the desert, in the semi-desert conditions of the place it lives. Of course, it would have to be, or else it would be not there. They'd be dead or somewhere else. With robust digestive systems, they can efficiently process and draw moisture from sparse desert flora. So often they won't drink water; they'll eat plants that have a high moisture content and subsist on that. Their ability to go extended periods without water is obviously essential in the desert of Somalia, you said?
Somalia, Eritrea, and Ethiopia.
They like you mentioned that their large ears are really good at dissipating heat kind of like an elephant, like the same idea as an elephant. Blood is running through a thin membrane, so it's close to the outside air, so it's easier to cool down than blood that's in your gut or in like in the center of your body where it's insulated by heat. So having a large flat thing like often an ear, desert animals often have large ears, like mice even. Remember the desert mouse, southern grasshopper mouse,
the one that the murderous one.
Yeah, it's got big ears for that exact same reason.
That howls at the moon after its kills. Go check that episode out.
Unlike the dense herds of wild horses, like in wherever you might find them, including the American West, African wild donkeys live more independently, except for like mothers and their young. Like you said, they overlap, but generally they don't necessarily travel in big herds because food is so sparse. They have to spread out to find it. So their powerful braying calls, which sounds like a rusty door hinge, are audible over 3 kilometers or 1.9 miles. Not as impressive as a lion, but still.
Is it not? I thought a lion's could
3 miles.
No, a lion's. Oh no, we just went on the Kilimanjaro safari at Animal Kingdom. I think they said 6 miles.
Oh.
Unless you're reading something different.
All I know is that I knew people in college that lived near Lion Country Safari in, I think, Port St. Lucie.
They could hear the lions.
Is that what that is?
They
can hear the lions. So the fact that they can call each other from almost 2 miles away and have these big ears that can hear really well, it enables them to like stay connected. They can have long distance relationships and coordinate over a vast desert landscape, which is they disperse around. The other thing that helps them live in the desert is their hooves. They have especially adapted hooves for desert life. If you look at their hooves, they're way wider than a horse. Like it's almost like a caricature, like a cartoonish caricature. They've got thin legs that go into a very wide hoof. Which these hooves are extremely durable. They're tough and robust, which allows them to navigate rocky and abrasive terrain without injury. Whereas like a horse, if you got to have a horseshoe if you want to go on a cobblestone path. The hooves are narrow and pointed, which helps them grip and move efficiently on loose sand and rocky surfaces. So if you've got tough ground, they're good. If you've got loose ground, they're good. Almost like a snowshoe. It disperses your weight.
Like a clown shoe.
Like a clown shoe. Very if you need to walk in the desert.
Clown shoes.
Get a clown shoe.
Clown shoes is the way to go. Ancient wisdom there.
And they even have a strong cushioning effect. They're not like brittle. They'll absorb shock from walking on hard, uneven ground. And the hooves are flexible, which proves it provides stability and balance on rough, uneven desert landscapes. So the fact that they also have like flexible, shock absorbing hooves is helpful for the fact that they have to travel long distances to find water and food in a harsh desert environment. So these guys are built to withstand the desert. It's so funny how like it looks like a horse, but there's some small idiosyncrasies. Those small idiosyncrasies are desert adaptations.
It's a desert horse.
Ears. the big hooves. Yeah. And that's all I got.
It's a horse for
And
sand.
if you look at like domestic donkeys that live all over, they're darker in color. A lot of them. Some look like this, but there's like darker, like dark brown to black donkeys. But in the desert, they're all this very, very light grayish tan to not absorb too much heat and sunlight.
And to just blend in with
Probably to blend
sand and dirt
dunes.
and stuff. Yeah. Rocks. I also learned that, and I thought you were going to mention this, so I put it in the ending, but that they are pretty good at smelling subterranean water. And like they sniff the ground and can tell that there's water underground, and then they will like use their hooves to kind of create a well, which helps other animals, not just themselves, because they drink from it and then leave, and then other animals come and drink from it. So they're that's another way that they can survive in the desert.
Now it makes more sense that like why donkeys are so represented in the Bible in an area that there's deserts and arid locations a lot of the time. They're like camels. They're like the horse version of a camel in that they are adapted, and you can use them to travel distances in arid regions.
Yeah, and apparently go faster than anything else.
True. Camels aren't known for speed, I don't think. Although I think they can go pretty fast.
Camels are pretty fast. Almost as fast as horses, from what I understand. Just not a lot harder to ride at speed.
Yeah, this says 40 miles per hour.
The camel?
Yeah.
So considering that the fastest horse is 44. That seems a little slow for some reason. I always thought horses were faster than that. But I mean, it's obviously incredibly fast compared to us. But just as like our mode of transportation for thousands of years, we didn't breed them any faster than that. There's just this wild donkey is just as fast. If he was strong enough, we could ride him. All right. You got anything else?
That's all I got.
All right, for you out there in Podcastia, that was the African wild donkey. Kick up your clown shoe hooves, race across the desert at blistering speeds, and sniff out that water source like a living dowsing rod. Like the African wild donkey here in Life, Death, and Taxonomy.
Hey Taxonomy Titans, thanks for listening to another year of Life, Death, and Taxonomy. Whether you're baking cookies, traveling to see family, or sitting by the fire, we're glad you're enjoying a little animal info. We'll see you again in 2025, but in the meantime, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and thanks again for listening.
For behold, I bring you tidings of great joy, which shall be to all people. For unto you is born this day in the city of David a Savior, which is Christ the Lord. That's what Christmas is all about, Charlie Brown.
What do you think a donkey's favorite TV program is?
My brain shut off at the idea of a TV program. What is this?
The correct answer is Bray Watch.